Who Dat Nation, hold your breath because the situation surrounding our tight end room just took a massive turn. We all remember the doubts and the rough start to last season, but everything shifted when the chemistry on the field finally clicked. Now, as we look toward the 2026 campaign, one veteran is standing at a career-defining crossroads that could cement his status in franchise history. Is this the breakout season we've been waiting for, or are we heading for a dark twist in this fairy tale? Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let's dive into this critical update. Juwan Johnson remains a pivotal figure for the Saints as he enters his 7th professional season, representing the central character in the evolving narrative of this offense. Signed to a 3-year deal worth just over $10 million annually before the 2025 season, Johnson initially faced significant skepticism from the Who Dat faithful. Many questioned the financial commitment to a player who had experienced fluctuating results over his first 5 years in the league. These doubts intensified during the first half of the previous season, as miscommunications and missed opportunities plagued the connection between Johnson and Spencer Rattler. During that challenging period, both the tight end and the quarterback struggled to find a consistent rhythm, leading to instances of dropped passes and tactical misplays. The overall offensive output mirrored these individual struggles, with other key contributors, including standout receiver Chris Olave and veteran running back Alvin Kamara, also facing noticeable hurdles as the unit failed to find its footing. This early season instability cast a shadow over the high expectations surrounding the roster. However, the trajectory of both the team and Johnson changed dramatically when Tyler Shough replaced Rattler. This pivot in personnel served as the primary catalyst for a shift in performance, particularly during the final third of the 2025 campaign. Johnson, who has been with the organization since joining as an undrafted free agent in 2020, found a new level of productivity alongside his new signal caller. In 9 games, Tyler Shough completed 221 passes, with Johnson securing 44 of those receptions, placing him second on the team only to Chris Olave, who totaled 51. This transformation shifted the narrative from uncertainty to potential, setting the stage for Johnson as he approaches his 30th birthday on opening day 2026. The emergence of the connection between Juwan Johnson and Tyler Shough has created a palpable sense of optimism for the Saints. Yet the reality of their situation remains complex. While the recent production suggests a turning point, the history of the franchise underscores the necessity for high-level tight end play to sustain a winning offense. Throughout the team's history, successful units have consistently relied on productive tight ends, from Jeremy Shockey during the historic 2009 season to the record-breaking contributions of Jimmy Graham and the consistent presence of Hobie Brenner. Juwan Johnson now sits in a position to cement his own legacy, with a clear path to becoming a top 5 all-time tight end for the franchise if he maintains the momentum established last year over the remainder of his contract. This importance is amplified in 2026 as the coaching staff works to integrate and develop first-round pick Jordan Tyson, aiming to avoid rushing his progression. Johnson's role as a primary target becomes even more critical in this context. To further solidify his value, he must improve his production in the red zone and increase his touchdown total, which stood at only 3 during the 2025 season. The team requires him to act as the primary foil to Chris Olave, providing a reliable safety valve for Tyler Shough. Achieving this requires moving past the inconsistency that defined his early tenure. While his 2025 output, featuring 77 receptions for 889 yards and 102 total targets, represents a massive leap in his individual performance, the necessity for sustained excellence remains. Why does this matter right now? It matters because the offense needs a dependable veteran presence to stabilize the development of younger players while maximizing the passing efficiency that Tyler Shough demonstrated during the closing stretch of the previous year. Analyzing Juwan Johnson's performance requires a look at his evolution. The statistics from last year demonstrate a clear upward trajectory, marking the 3rd consecutive season where both his reception totals and yardage have improved. Moving from 37 catches for 368 yards in 2023 to 50 catches for 548 yards in 2024, and finally reaching 77 catches for 889 yards in 2025, shows that he is a player currently operating at his career peak. His physical profile, standing 6'4" and weighing 230 pounds, presents a difficult mismatch for opposing defensive personnel. This size advantage allows him to consistently challenge cornerbacks and linebackers in coverage, enabling him to locate open space even when play design breaks down. Furthermore, he has proven himself to be adept at securing contested catches, a skill that has provided significant utility for the quarterback. Beyond his hands, Juwan Johnson is recognized as one of the league's top performers regarding yards after the catch. This specific trait provides a direct boost to the offensive system implemented by Coach Kellen Moore. By turning short receptions into significant gains, he alleviates pressure on the signal caller and forces defenses to account for him in all phases of the passing game. Despite these strengths, the issue of reliability persists as a focal point for improvement. According to official league data, Johnson recorded 6 drops in 17 games last year. While he has demonstrated the ability to make difficult, acrobatic catches look routine, there are still moments where fundamental opportunities are missed. Reducing these unforced errors is the next logical step in his development as he heads into his 7th year. His continued growth is essential to ensure that the positive trends observed with Tyler Show transition into a consistent, full-season performance for the entire team. To understand the path Juwan Johnson has traveled, one must look at his origins in Stratford, New Jersey. A highly touted prospect out of Glassboro High School, he was ranked by 247 Sports as the 12th best wide receiver recruit in the nation. His college journey began at Penn State, where he spent 3 seasons and hauled in 81 passes for 1,123 yards and 2 touchdowns. His collegiate career concluded at the University of Oregon, where he recorded 30 catches for 467 yards and 4 additional scores during his senior season. This background as a former wide receiver is clearly reflected in his current play style, particularly in his route running and his proficiency in open space. Since signing with the Saints as an undrafted free agent in 2020, he has carved out a distinct role that continues to expand in importance. The current chapter of his career is defined by his contract and his role as a cornerstone of the passing attack. As he approaches his 30th birthday, the organizational expectation is that he will act as a stabilizing force. The stakes are clear. The offense has identified its path to success through the efficiency of Tyler Show, and Juwan Johnson is expected to be a primary beneficiary and contributor to that success. With the continued presence of Chris Olave drawing attention from opposing secondaries, the space available for a tight end of Johnson's caliber should be significant. The transition from a prospect struggling with drops to a focal point of the passing game highlights the progress he has made since entering the league. His ability to build upon the 889-yard output from 2025 will be a primary indicator of the unit's overall efficacy during the upcoming season, as the team looks to balance veteran production with the integration of new offensive talents. Looking toward the future for Juwan Johnson, the objective for the 2026 season is singular: consistency. The narrative surrounding his contract and his production has shifted from questioning his value to acknowledging his role as the team's second leading receiver behind Chris Olave. While the fairy tale success of the offense under Tyler Show provided a spark in the final 9 games of 2025, the team recognizes that sustaining that performance requires Johnson to minimize his lapses in concentration. The 6 drops recorded last year serve as a reminder of the room for growth that remains, even as his statistical output has climbed to career-high levels. Coaches and fans alike will be watching to see if he can transition from a player who makes occasional spectacular grabs to one who is fundamentally reliable on every snap. His role in the red zone is particularly critical, as his 3 touchdown receptions in 2025 were a figure the team aims to increase to capitalize on his size advantage in confined spaces. As he begins his 7th season, his experience becomes an asset, not just for his own production, but for the development of the receiving corps as a whole. The team's decision to entrust him with a significant contract extension is now being tested by his ability to maintain his health and his high level of play over a full 17-game schedule. If he manages to replicate the chemistry he found with Tyler Show, he will undoubtedly solidify his standing in team history. The progression of Juwan Johnson remains one of the most important threads to follow as the Saints prepare for the 2026 campaign, serving as a direct barometer for the potential success of the passing attack throughout the year.